This is Lookup Channel. Today we are going to discuss following themes on war in Ukraine. Blast rocks Russian military optics plant near Moscow. Kyiv submits report to Pentagon on cluster munition use. UAE President wants to arrange Zelensky-Putin talks. A factory in a city near Moscow making optical systems for the Russian military was rocked by an explosion on Wednesday, which sent a column of smoke into the sky. The Zelenskyy Optical Mechanical Plant is a major developer and manufacturer of precision optical devices for the Russian military, making equipment such as night vision goggles and binoculars. The incident follows a string of similar explosions at industrial sites across Russia in recent months, which were attributed to Ukrainian drone strikes or pro-Ukrainian saboteurs. Yet officially Russian sources claim that poor safety regulations led to an explosion near the Zelenskyy Optical Mechanical Plant in Moscow on August 9, and notably, most Russian sources did not suggest that Ukrainian actors may have been responsible for the incident, reports American Institute for the Study of War. The explosion caused widespread damage to the plant and surrounding areas, injured at least 60 people, and killed at least one person. The explosion reportedly occurred at a facility at the plant leased by Russian pyrotechnics company Pyroros, and the Russian authorities have reportedly opened a criminal case against Pyroros for the violation of industrial safety requirements. Russian sources also claim that Russian authorities have detained Pyroros director Sergei Chanikev in connection with the explosion. Russian state-owned defense conglomerate Rostec owns the Zelenskyy Optical Mechanical Plant, and the plant produces pyrotechnics and precision optical equipment for the military. Russian media outlets reported that the plant has also been participating in the development of a next-generation strategic stealth bomber, Poslanik, since 2019. Industrial plants across Russia have been targeted by drone strikes attributed to Ukraine since the start of the war, and in recent weeks drones have been shot down over Moscow, with several crashing into skyscrapers in the capital's business district. Russian officials said some armed drones heading to Moscow were shot down in the early hours of Wednesday and Thursday. Some of the combat drones that were destroyed by Russia's air defense on Wednesday was shot down near Domodedovo. In Domodedovo, explosions rang out and a large fire broke out in the early hours of Thursday. The other drone was spotted near the Odintsovo suburban area west of Moscow. Domodedovo is home to one of Moscow's three main airports, while the Odintsovo area is near to Vnukovo Airport. Ukraine has provided the Pentagon with a report about the use of controversial American cluster munitions in the fight with Russia. A Ukrainian official told CNN the information was transmitted to the Defense Department, and included both the number of rounds fired and the number of Russian targets destroyed. The expected report was a request by the U.S. as part of the agreement to send artillery rounds with cluster bomblets to Ukraine. Ukrainian officials have said they expect the artillery rounds with cluster bomblets to be more effective than standard artillery rounds, particularly against large groupings of Russian troops and equipment. Last month, the United States National Security Council spokesperson John Kirby said they were having an impact on Russia's defensive formations and Russia's defensive maneuvering. U.S.-supplied cluster munitions are destroying Russian positions in areas where Ukrainian troops had struggled to advance. Ukrainian forces have been striking Russian infantry, vehicles, and artillery positions, clearing the way for ground forces' advances. This allowed Kyiv to take positions its troops have long struggled to reach, the Wall Street Journal reported on August 8. The effectiveness of the ammunition has been demonstrated during recent fights around Robotyne in Zaporizhia Oblast. Russian forces pinned down a Ukrainian platoon until Ukraine's artillery provided a cover with cluster munitions, causing heavy casualties among the Russian ranks and forcing them to retreat. According to Ukrainian soldiers, cluster munitions are effective, but Russian troops are already adapting to their use by digging deeper trenches and by spreading their positions more thinly. The US, Russia and Ukraine are not signatories to the Convention on Cluster Munitions, which bans the production and use of the weapons and was signed by more than 100 countries. Cluster munitions scatter bomblets over a wide area. The cluster munition duds, or unexploded bomblets, can pose a danger to the civilian population in the area long after the hostilities end. The Ukrainian military has therefore said that cluster munitions will not be used in cities, densely populated areas, or on Russian territory. Russia has been using cluster munitions in Ukraine since the beginning of aggression in Ukraine as long as in 2014. UAE President Mohammed bin Zayed, at the request of Pope Francis, wants to host a meeting between Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelenskyy and Russian dictator Vladimir Putin, Lebanese newspaper L'Oréal Le Jour reported on August 8, citing sources among Western and Arab diplomats. According to the report, officials aim to arrange the meeting during the UN Conference on Climate Change, taking place from November 30 to December 12 in Dubai. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelenskyy previously emphasized that Ukraine will not sit at a negotiating table with the aggressor nation while Russian occupying forces remain on Ukrainian territory. The U.S. Department of State has commented on the initiative of the UAE President, who proposed organizing a meeting between Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelenskyy and Russian President Vladimir Putin at the Dubai Climate Conference. Matthew Miller, spokesman for the U.S. Department of State, said that the decision on any meeting between the presidents of Ukraine and Russia is for President Zelenskyy to make. We have made clear that Ukraine is in the driver's seat when it comes to deciding the future of Ukraine, and that is true with respect to any potential negotiations, Miller pointed. He also reiterated that President Zelenskyy has made clear for some time that he is open to conversations about, with Russia that respect Ukraine's territorial integrity and Ukraine's sovereignty.